morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Hope everybody's had a nice and restorative weekend. And since here in the United States there is a holiday coming up, Memorial Day weekend, it is a salute to all of the fallen military members and anybody who has been in the line of duty. So, salute to you. So, So today is a new week as May comes to a close. And also several people have been graduating, have been going through rites of passage, and as we prepare for summer vacation, if we do that kind of thing, um, or what's coming next in the month of June, and by extension, the season of summer, how about we take a little bit of a pause right now? Okay. It's a nice time to really take a bit of a breath and realize, like, we're here, we're alive, we're doing this. ah, okay. Just wanted to make sure people were notified that I was streaming. And yes, people know that I'm streaming. Okay, brilliant. Okay. So, with that, let us go ahead and prepare for the week. So, first off, we are going to come into this thing with some new energy. So, of course, we are going to light up some cedar to remind us of the wisdom that we need to carry. Before that, let us clear out a little bit of space in our minds with a little bit of a sage and witch hazel spray. Cool things off a little bit up in here. That smells good. And then we shall now burn some cedar for a little bit of, to invoke the wisdom that we are going to remind ourselves inside and out. Oop, that's probably the wrong lighter for that one. That happens sometimes, people. Please use fire responsibly. Where's my other lighter? Aha, there it is. Much better. Okay. Let's just catch a little. And in case you're wondering what I'm wearing on my neck, it is a neck fan. The brand is a Korean brand. It's called Jisoo Life. Uh-oh, I think I'm out. I think I'll just do this. There we go. Brand's called Jisoo Life in case you want to try it out. But my dad bought it on sale in Costco and just bought a bunch, and it has saved me a ton when it comes to like concert season. Thankfully, the brand itself is already pretty affordable, so if you want to buy it outside of Costco, you totally could. Hashtag not sponsored. I just thought that'll be good to know in case you want to try to cool yourselves off this summer. Okay. Okay, a little bit of cedar, and finally, a little bit of sweetgrass. I met I think she was either Cherokee or Anishinaabe, and a vendor from last year's powwow, and they sold this sweetgrass and smelled amazing. So I was like, let me support an indigenous business and get something that smells good. And also to bring in a little bit of sweetness into your life and an encouragement to share the sweetness around you. Because I know, especially when things get stressful or things get overwhelming, it can be easy to get stuck in and overwhelm. So it's important to give yourself a little bit of a break, a little bit of time to really think about yourself and your people for a little while. So, okay, I think we're all centered. And without further ado, let us go ahead and get into the reading. So, I thought about a podcast idea. Let me know if you want me to do one. I even surprisingly got a name, and I usually am not good at it. I'm not very good at names, but I finally have one, so I feel pretty good about this. But anyways, let me go ahead and shuffle this up to already want to come out from the swords category. Okay, so that's Monday. Tuesday. Let me change the mic gain and the settings a little bit. There we go. So now it's a bit more all-encompassing. Okay, it's Wednesday. 2 more days of the week. And I am feeling for the next Oracle forecast, I will change things up a little bit in terms of the deck, but there will be another thing that will be changed up a little bit, which I will tell towards the end of the stream. Well, this week I think will be the final week of this week will be the final week of whatchamacallit. This week will be the final week of like full week streams. And then I'll pretty much be back to like my normal schedule after this month. So there's a lot. So anyway, let's go ahead and get through the readings for this week, and then we will do the post Oracle forecast readings. So if anybody is tuning in live on Twitch or YouTube, welcome. So if you want to get a reading after this general part is over, what you are going to need to do is type in !join. Now, this is limited to 7 people, so it's first come, first serve. Once I hit 7 people, there will not be any more in the queue. So, or just whatever or if I finish first, we're not going to take any more people. All right. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the week. So, we got a couple of jumpers here, and it's mainly swords. So, first, we got the Knight of Swords, which is very much about an impetus to find the truth, the impetus to have the knowledge necessary to make a wise and profound decision. So, this week is really going to be about scoping out your honesty, scoping out your ideas, and making sure especially that when you are fighting for yourself and for your beliefs, that it's coming from an aligned place, from a aligned position, that you really sought out the answers you needed before you dive into a situation like this. And then the other card that we got that jumped out with the Knight of Swords is the Two of Swords, which is about a stalemate, an impasse. Neither side really wants to shove, or shift or move. To borrow a term from the Kobayashi Maru, it's more or less, it's what feels like a no-win scenario, a lack of a compromise. But there is a way that seemingly irreconcilable ideas can still exist. I mean, just from the fact that, for example, when separations occur due to irreconcilable differences, that is still, in a way, two different views existing together, coming apart. But also, sometimes clashes can also occur once again by not paying attention to what knowledge and what truths that people embody right in front of them. So we got to be honest with ourselves. Are we looking at more so the ideal of what a person is, or just the potential of what a person could be, or are we looking at who they are right here, right now, in this present moment, and seeing them both in their flaws and shadows, and also the positivity and where they could be? Because both things do coexist. Both things do coexist. So, Monday, here's what we got. Got the Page of Wands. Okay. Let me extend my light a little bit over here so that way we can actually get a proper highlight. There we go. Looks much better now. All right. So, Knight of Wands. So, this Monday, this is a chance for you. This is not, by the way, this is, for those who are new to my Oracle forecast, it's not a predictive thing. It's more so a chance for like reflecting on different aspects of your personal multitudes. And Monday may be a good time to look at what things help you keep going. What's your passion? What's your philosophy? And find some ways to enact that philosophy into your life. It doesn't have to be the massive get out there and march kind of stuff. It can be something as simple as doing a little bit of research about what your local resources are. And I see you, Little Princess Cherry. I am glad that you found some support. Good for you. So happy to hear that. And so even just looking for support where you need it, be it online or somewhere else. One way of doing that. Another way you can do that is even just picking up a phone and calling someone that you haven't heard from in a while. That's what I did just earlier today, actually. It's Alumni weekend, later on this weekend. There's some people that I have not seen in over 5 years. And I felt like it was time that I really took time and hung out with them. I miss them a lot. And so it doesn't even have to be like the traditional political involvement in passion and creativity. It can also be ways that you feel more in touch with aspects of yourself that you feel like might have vanished a long time ago. The parts you miss. How can you tap into those parts? And to clarify, I am not saying that you have to drop everything political to live. No. For a lot of us, and by a lot of us I mean everyone, let's be for real, our mere existence is political. So this is where Knight of Swords energy really comes in, is to pay attention to what ideas do we reinforce in ourselves that may not be helping us in our present and by extension the long run. That's a call for you with the Page of Wands to start examining. Where can you be more outspoken in your philosophy? It doesn't even have to be verbal. It could be just action. Whether it's spiritual work, maybe taking a minute or 5 minutes to sit down and breathe. Affirm to yourself who and what you are. It can be just Samurai Matcha, that's one really nice YouTuber from Japan. Apparently one habit that Japanese people have is they pay attention wherever they walk and see if they could pick up 3 pieces of trash wherever they walk past. And it motivates people to actually steward their land and also make the world just a little bit cleaner. It doesn't have to be like the massive ocean cleanup though. I love those. Definitely go for those. I always want to try one of those. But even something as small as just picking up 3 items and throwing them out in the proper places. That's something that anyone can do. So, simple actions, big big tectonic shifts in our energy and in our minds and hearts. That's the call for the Page of Wands. So, Tuesday, we got Temperance. And it's very fitting that Temperance came up, in especially in a period where conflicting energies come together. And we are living that paradox all the time, especially if we're living a certain existence where on the one hand, there are a lot of us wanting to see something different in our world today. That we want to see a world where it is much more supportive for so many people and their needs and their dreams and all of these good things. There's so much we want to do there. And yet, we are living in a world simultaneously that has been very much, oftentimes violently, against that. And the violence, unfortunately, comes from the hegemon, like those who are actually in power, not just random people on the streets. Sometimes it is, but like it's from like we know who it is. And so we also have an inner hegemon that we have to deal with as well. And it makes me think about this one question that I had for a prominent Wiccan teacher that I was lucky enough to meet during Between the Worlds Sacred Space in February, Christopher Penzak. I'm familiar with that name. He put us through this, and he taught us this initiation, and it was a very challenging one because it very much is about confronting your shadow, the shadow aspects, like the sites you think the things you really don't want to face. And I really had to ask him, like, how are we supposed to have that love that we are asked to put towards our dark sides, towards people that don't want us to exist? And the challenge, he said, was to love anyway. And that's the harder part, but the very necessary part. Because if we sink down to that angry primal violence that they are asking, that they are wanting us to go down, we're no different. We're no different. So, Tuesday for Temperance. It's about harmony and equilibrium, taking two opposing forces and putting them in a place to work together towards the same aim. And to get rid of one will get rid of the entirety of the existence of that power. You can't have light without shadow, and you can't have shadow without light. How else do we get beautiful dimensions in pictures in spaces like this. I mean, there I have a shadow behind me. And especially unless you have like a super giant bright light to cover this in the back. Odds are pretty good. The brighter the light, the bigger the shadow as well. At least here on Earth, we're used to having the moon along with the sun. The moon, fun fact, it's traveling further and further away. And eventually, there may be a generation, granted, it'll be several generations, so most of us wouldn't even be here for that. But like several generations down the line, eventually, the moon will basically be a myth for some Earthlings on this planet. But I know for us, because we grew up with it, it's like how the scientists try to get rid of Pluto, even though Pluto was still around. A dwarf planet's still a planet, in my opinion. Anyway, but point is, even with the awareness of that binary of like opposition, we can't deny, even with those opposing forces, there is a sense of unity in those opposing forces. So, especially with the Two of Swords energy that we got popping up in this week, the question to think about is, how do we work with those paradoxes? What are those paradoxes, especially the stuff that we just don't like seeing? That's something I'm dealing with as well. How do we reconcile with that? How to reconcile with those oppositions? That's a reflection on Tuesday. So, Wednesday, Hump Day. 10 of Pentacles. Whee! Okay. 10 of Pentacles. So, 10 of Pentacles. This one, it's about enjoying the fruits of your labor. Excuse me. I mean, Wednesday, some people stereotypically talk about Monday being a hard day. Wednesdays can be just difficult for some people because it's like the middle of the week. It's the middle of the week. Nobody really thinks about like sometimes how that middle of the week feels like there's nothing really going on Wednesday. And Wednesday's child, there's this stereotypical thing about Wednesday's child is full of woe, even though there are people trying to combat that idea of Wednesday's child being full of woe. There's even a Wednesday's child charity up in Philly. So there's an interesting little bit of fun fact there. 10 of Pentacles hitting on Wednesday. It's about affluence and enjoying the blessings that have befallen upon you, especially if you've worked towards the joys and the work that you have really thirsted for after all this time. It's like the long-term efforts are finally paying off. So it's a call for you to figure out, to call upon your joy on Wednesday. Where do you need to celebrate more things in your life? Where do you need to allow yourself to enjoy more things in life? Because we can often get so hyper-focused on work that we forget that there's more to life beyond work. There's so much more to life beyond work. Okay? Way more to life beyond work. So, do yourself a favor. Find yourself something really simple to do, whether it's playing some music or watching a movie that you have not watched in a long time, and just let yourself enjoy it. Okay? Let yourself enjoy it. And abundance doesn't even have to mean financial abundance. It could just be being in good company, grabbing a good book off the shelf and reading it, listening to a good song or a good story, and really enjoying it, not just out of like, not only out of escapism, but because you really want to see that thing and appreciate it. Take that time for your joy. There is plenty of it. Tap into it. There's always going to be work, but there's also always going to be joy. So please remember to stop and smell the roses. That is Wednesday. Thursday, got the Magician. A reminder that you are the crafter of your own story, of your own energy, of your own ideas, power, self-confidence, etc. And you can harness it to become reality. And these are three minds: our brain, heart, gut, all very powerful. Gut is good at detecting things in real time. Our hearts are good to feel out what is best for us. And our minds, we can imagine so many possibilities for us. We could see so much data. We could learn so many different things. Thanks to this baby. And this too. And so let your mind run free with the possibilities and play with the energy that we have all around us. Because sometimes the intangible can feel more real, and sometimes the physical can feel more illusory. Sometimes you might need to defy gravity, defy reality for a little bit. The closest I got to that sense was when Beltana started. There was all this word of, well, I mean, granted, weather forecasts are not gospel, so take this story with a grain of salt. But like 80 to 90% of the time, it does tend to hit the way it does. And so there was a prediction of rain for the day the ceremony was going to occur. And it was getting pretty strongly suggested as we got closer and closer. And out of a little bit of a whimsical idea. No, most people don't really recommend this. I said, you know what? Let me take a note from my old martial arts master's playbook and meditate on a nice day for the day of the ceremony. I even thought of doing a sigil for this. Like maybe I mentally constructed a sigil and I just didn't even know it. I meditated about having a nice day for the ceremony, and as kind of a mutual agreement with nature that in exchange for having a nice day on the day of the ceremony, rain during this period, and we should be copacetic. Rain during this period. Not imposing anything, but like more so like in a way a gratitude for nature for doing its job, and maybe a little bit of like kind of like a little bit of a intention / suggestion box for maybe here's another way you could probably do this and still get what you want. And I can get what I want too. So a little bit of that. I kind of thought about it. I mean, I was going to make an entire ritual out of it, but then I never had the energy to do so until the day of the ceremony. And maybe thankfully that probably didn't come to pass because it turned out the next day, no, like single digit probability of rain by the time the day happened. And the ceremony that we had for that day was beautiful. And that made me realize how powerful our minds can be sometimes. Obviously, it doesn't happen all the time. There are times where it doesn't happen, where it might not happen. Like case in point, there's There's always an event that we always try to have like during springtime, but it always rains. Like we always think it never is going. Like, we're gonna have the one time that it's gonna be outdoors. It hasn't been outdoors since the lockdown, so that's been annoying. But at least the gatherings are still pretty fun. So that's the more important thing. So the magician is a reminder. Guess where am I going with the story? It's because the magician is a reminder that you have so much more influence than you realize over yourself and your journey. It's not about manipulating other people or controlling the weather per se. Well, some people do that, albeit for malefic purposes and very much a corruption of free will. So don't recommend that. But the fact that you can tap into so much to make a difference in your life is amazing. It's amazing how powerful we can be when we set ourselves up in the right circumstances and in the right space to do so. And I got to put a little bit of a caveat here because I know there are some people who are not in great situations right now, be it in personal situations or political situations, financial situations, marginalizations, etc. This is not erasing that. If anything, if anything, I'm calling this as a reminder, especially to my marginalized peoples out there, that there's so much more for us that we can do differently for ourselves and for each other. Pardon me, I don't mean to get a little emotional. But point is, Thursday, the magician is here to remind you of your power, that you have so much of it. And you don't even need that much faith. All you need is a mustard seed of faith. And if you see mustard seeds, they're not that huge. Okay, they are tiny. Like you can barely see it on your thumb. That's how small they are. You don't need much, just a little bit of faith. And if you're struggling right now, but you still think about those dreams, even when they feel impossible, you might be down, but you're not out, okay? You're not out, so please, please don't give up. That's another thing that the magician's here to tell you. I'm saying this to myself too. So this stuff is not just for you, it's also for me too, okay? You're not alone in this journey. So with that, finally we get to Friday. And it is about the Nine of Swords. This is where the Knight of Swords is really going to be helpful here. Because the Nine of Swords, it's when a lot of thoughts come up, a lot of things come up, and they can be rather unpleasant. Very, very unpleasant. It's about inner turmoil, it's about vulnerability, and you're especially very vulnerable to your own struggles and your own demons. And it can be easy to get stuck in fear. Fear may seem to be a powerful motivator, but it can also freeze you simultaneously. So you have to be very careful about how fear acts upon your life. I'm trying to remember what the Nine of Swords looks like in the cards. Okay, I was mixing up with the Ten of Swords. So Nine of Swords is very much like this. It's the scream of worry and anxiety of like just too many thoughts coming up, and sometimes it can be this sense of like I can't keep up with this. I can't stay in the same place anymore. And that could be a very scary place to be in. Very vulnerable place to be in. And At the same time, though, it can also be a space of transformation, of finally making the decisions that you might have put off for far too long, and to make the changes that you need to change. So I know how scary this card looks, especially during the end of the week. But remember, most of this week you've been cultivating all these things to help you get through those struggles. So if you have moments like this where thoughts just feel too much, just things, the world, etc., ideas just feel too much, know that you have something to tap into. The stalemate can end, and you are the knight that could save the damsel that is your soul. I wouldn't call it a damsel in distress, but certainly something important that needs dedication and care. So that is your Oracle forecast of the week, and I managed to do it in half an hour. I feel pretty proud of myself. So, gonna put a couple of songs here for a little bit of a song prescription. I'm probably gonna not explain these too much this time, so that way y'all can just figure it out for yourselves. And this is from the Queen Herbie Oracle, so if you want to listen to these tracks yourself, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can just look it up from wherever you listen to music. So that's one way you can do it. Other way you can do it is you can go to the Isle of Queen tour. She just started, so she's coming more towards the East Coast, like around like July, August-ish. So right now she's kind of in the central contiguous United States. So if you want to, like watch her live, this is the time to do it. So we got a couple of songs. We got Farewell. Outgrew my shell, now I want to grow some wings. That one's a good one. And New Beach Magazine exclusive. All right. So you guys can look up these songs. She also recently restocked her shop, which I'm glad, because I mean, her tracks are really good too. And I want to get some vinyls at some point. Okay, hopefully this should come through. Okay. Let me double check my censor bar. Probably got censored, but it's okay. But yeah, with that's pretty much. Oh, surprisingly went through. Okay, sweet. So with that, the tarot doctor is officially in. Let us get started with the readings. So this part, it's pretty much the same as it is on my Saturday streams. The little bit of a difference is it's first come, first serve. If I finish the list pretty quickly, then that's pretty much it. I can't go any further. And, well, I got to give a little bit of a heads up as well. This Oracle forecast may be the last one where I'll be able to do readings afterwards. Because there might be some changes to my schedule, and I don't think the long streams I did before will be sustainable, especially if I do get this job that I'm interviewing for on Thursday. So I think I'm just better off preparing for the possibility that I may not be able to be on here that long. So just wanted to give you a bit of a heads up. I've also been getting, I guess I'll be frank here, I've also been getting a lot of comments recently that have been saying, like, it's giving, like, you're giving the wrong impression by doing longer streams. You have to start cutting down. And so, as much as I love being here, unfortunately, I may have to follow their advice. It's not just for, it's just for publicity purposes. Also, well, my personal life. If it's adversely affecting the people around me, then I have to listen. And so, this week will be the final everyday week, and then I'll be back to my old schedule. And again, I love my long streams, but it seems like it's starting to hit everything else. And I have to protect the powers that be. So I'm sorry, guys. I have to go shorter. So with that, let us go ahead and get to our second half of the day. This is the last one. Let's just make the most of it. So, if you want to join the list for getting a reading for tonight, we are back down to our usual Seer Saturday-ish format. Whenever you hear the music, it means doors open for business. So, go ahead and type in, for those who are on Twitch, type in !join, and you will be in the queue. It is first come, first serve. And then for my YouTubers, just type in the question you want to ask. This is especially important because, I mean, I don't have that kind of filter compared to, like, Twitch, because there are some questions that I cannot answer, like predicting relationships, or like, well, in particular, predicting, like, is this person cheating on me? How's this person think of me, etc. None of that stuff. Compatibility? Yes. Vibes? Yes. Will they, won't they? Yes, no. Can't do it. Not how these cards work. And I also don't like third-party surveillance. Don't like doing it. So, had to be for real. And with that, you got it. So, anybody want readings tonight? All right. Gonna give it probably... Gonna give y'all maybe 5 minutes to jump in. Okay. If nobody wants one, I totally understand. I mean, I know it is in the border of a holiday for a lot of us, or whether it's going to the beach or a lonely weekend or graduations or weddings. So it's understandable if you're feeling hesitant tonight. I just wanted to keep the table open for anybody, but yeah. I mean, newbies, it's all good. I mean, life happens when we're busy making other plans. So, totally okay. 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 So so for all the people who have been really supportive of these streams, thank you so much for tuning in as regularly as you have. I really appreciate you. There's so much to look forward to in the immediate future of this channel. And I'm happy to say that as of yesterday, we are halfway through my fundraising goal for studying abroad. And you guys tuning in especially has helped me get every little bit closer to helping me get through to the goals that I have been setting for myself day by day. So thank you. Whew. All right. So we got 30 seconds before the queue closes. So if anybody wants a reading, now's time to ask. Ten seconds. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. And with that, that is the end of the Oracle forecast, officially. My energy stays with me, your energy stays with you, and the circle was open but unbroken still. Wow. Didn't think that was going to be how the last one went, but here we are. But anyway, tomorrow I'm going to be hopefully being able to access and be able to show you the new game that is allegedly the Sims replacement, Paralives. Early access will be opening up at 10 a.m. So I'm going to double check and make sure there are no media embargoes, which the odds are pretty good there aren't, but I still want to double triple check to make sure I'm not going to get copyright struck when I do that. Tuesday, we will come back to Star Wars: The Old Republic. Wednesday, we will do Star Trek Online. Thursday, we'll do Stronghold. And Friday might not actually be happening because it is alumni weekend. But Saturday, heads up, that one might be hit a little bit because of alumni weekend again too, but we'll see. I will let you know in advance what's going on with the weekend streams. Sunday might be the one that stays the same, but we'll see. Still working on Charity of the Season, but the moment you have that, you'll be the first to know. Discord listening party was a huge success, so thank you for all those who have attended. If you want to see the playlist that we listened to during that time, go to our my Discord server, Tandrosia's Magic Circle. I'm also planning on attending the Isle of Queen tour over the summer, so if you want to watch the person, the extraordinaire that is Queen Herbie, do the songs that I often pull out during streams live, that's the time to do so. Look at her website, queenherbie.com, and see where she is touring near you. Make sure you swap the U with a V and you'll get the same thing. Anyway, I'm currently doing a campaign to save up for my study abroad program, and the proceeds are going to help towards my remaining educational expenses over there. As of today, I am running a discount code for the trip with a code HOMECOMING, which will give you 35% off all offerings listed on the right side of the screen and more. Other ways you can help with the fundraiser: you can continue tuning into the channel as usual. You can also donate via the coffee page or bits, and purchase campaign items via the coffee shop. Deadline to purchase a reserve is May 31st, and after that, it's going to switch back to the old items. Anyway, here is my social media in case you want to see me outside of this channel. I have Blue Sky, I have Discord, I have TikTok. This is simulcast on my Twitch and my first YouTube channel, DJ MK Off the Air. My second channel, Theological Otaku, is where the vlogs and possibly some video essays will come up, so keep an eye out for those. For those who are more on the written word side, I have a Substack, thirdnerd.substack.com. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the coffee shop, but if you prefer more support via items, there's the Throne Wishlist, throne.com/Tondrasia. Finally, this episode was filmed in the homelands of the Nanticoke and Lenape indigenous peoples. If you want to find out whose lands you're living on, as well as ways you can help out with the project, and maybe learn some more info and get in touch with people, visit native-land.ca. So, with that, this is your Oracle forecast for the week. Hope you all have an awesome work week. And, as always, may your heart be your guiding key. Till next time, I'll see you later. So, for those who are tuned in live, stand by for a raid. And for those who are watching the replay, this is the end of the video. Bye, everybody.